Hello, all, and welcome to the Breaking Bad Communication Podcast. My name is Kathy Riley, your expert in communication. Have you ever had those awkward silences during a conversation? Have you ever wanted to say something and then your stinking thinking shut you up and you didn't speak? Have you ever thought about this was the perfect thing to say like 3 days later? Do you struggle with having that conversation where you're on one side and somebody else is on the other and you don't meet in the middle, like your whole conversation was lost in translation? Well, you know what? If this is you, if this is what you experience, then welcome to this podcast because that's what we're here to talk about is the struggles. The struggle is real. Communication is a huge problem in today's world. And how do we improve that? How do we stand up for ourselves, use our voice, speak our truth, own our worth, and share our message in a way that is well received, that has with grace and respect? How do we do that? And so I navigated and created this podcast here to help us do that because I'm an individual that struggled with this for years and have spent the last couple decades really helping other people improve communication. So today I am moved to talk about boundaries. Boundaries is something that we struggle with. Do you struggle with boundaries? God knows I have for years. And the problem with when we create boundaries and then we no longer adhere to them, we let people kind of roll over us and navigate our lives instead of us living our lives, right? Their boundaries become our boundaries because it's all about them, not about us. And when we do that, we're no longer living our life, we're living theirs, we're living other people's. We serve them, we're not serving ourselves. And how can we pour from an empty cup, right? How can we show up as our true selves if we are constantly living other people's expectations, doing the things that they want us to do versus what we're supposed to be doing? And I can tell you from experience that what happens when you have boundaries and you don't use them is things go awry, and things go to I'll be completely honest with you. I ended up with a very bad, unhealthy marriage. We were together 11 years, married 4. I lovingly called him idiot because there's no better way to describe who he is and how he showed up and how he handled our entire relationship. It was idiot. I had no boundaries with him, none. I had no boundaries with my family. I had none. And I started developing boundaries. I started figuring out who my authentic self was, what was important to Kathy. And that led me to my Prince Charming, my current husband of over 20 years. And there's a reason why he's Prince Charming, but we'll save that for another talk, another day. But and then my life continues and I become a mom, right? And then my boundaries go out the window again because I'm constantly taking care of her and taking care of family. My family is a core value for me. Can you guys relate to this? Like you are pouring into other people on such a level that you sort of lose yourself and you lose your boundaries. Well, that mindset, those habits led to 4 surgeries in 5 months. I nearly lost my life because I was so busy putting everybody else first, the work first, right? The family first, everything. I was the person that you came to get stuff done because I knew how to get stuff done. And yeah, and yet I was happy, but I was struggling. So this was quite a while ago, a couple decades ago, to tell you the truth, and have learned that boundaries, even though they are uncomfortable or necessary, they are truly necessary for you to live your best life, for you to live a healthy life, right? Boundaries are there for a purpose. So let's shift our perspective. Okay, first of all, boundary isn't just saying no, right? Boundaries are things that we live with on a daily basis that we don't even know we're living with. For instance, do you keep a calendar and schedule appointments? Okay, your appointment has a beginning and ending time. Guess what? That's a boundary. Do you read books? Right? Books. It has got designated beginning, middle, and end. There's only so many pages in it. The story does have an ending, right? It wraps up. Um, those are boundaries. Okay, we live with boundaries all the time. You order food, right? Your food on the menu comes with boundaries. It's made this way. Yes, you can alter it a little bit here or there depending on what the restaurant has. Because I'm one of those people, I like having an egg on top of my burger. I got to tell you, my sister introduced me that to, oh God, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago. And I can't eat a burger any other way. I'm telling you, it is absolutely delicious. But this was a squirrel moment, squirrel. Um, but those are boundaries, right? When you go to a restaurant, what can you not order from the menu? Um, we are surrounded with boundaries every day, and yet we don't think anything about it. We we live with them. We allow other people to create boundaries around us. So why is it so hard for us to create boundaries for ourselves? So think about, just change your perspective. Your boundary in your time and what you want to do is no different than a book. It's no different than a restaurant, than a meal. It's no different than an appointment. It's no different. So own that space. Just think about it just differently enough that you're not, it's not that you're saying no to other people. You're just creating limitations for their access to you, right? Think about that. You're just creating limitations. You're creating um, a guide for them to interact with you. So when it comes to work, I deal with a lot of entrepreneurs and leaders in companies and CEOs, and your calendar, your time is your biggest asset. So creating boundaries around that and allowing people to say, okay, you can have access to me. This is when I can say yes to you. And then there's other times that I'm saying no to you. And you have to adhere to that. We can live together. It's called being flexible, right? People can be we're not the only, I'm not the only person that can be flexible. You're not the only person that can be flexible with your time. Other people can be flexible too. So owning that space, owning your worth, being more comfortable saying that these are my boundaries. These are things that I don't really want to do. Here's another thing. Okay, so early on, I was in a lot of therapy with the bad marriage and all of this, and boundaries was a struggle of mine, like a serious struggle of mine. And so this was some advice that she gave me that was absolutely fantastic. Is I didn't like saying no, and talk to, if you know somebody that struggles with saying no, share this podcast with them, because I'm telling you, the struggle is real. But you can say no without saying no. So simply saying words like, thank you for thinking of me. I would really love to participate in XYZ, whatever it is. That what you need me to do isn't going to work. However, I could do ABC. How does that work for you? So as somebody who is always and I'm speaking a lot of personal experience because I really, really get this conversation. Being a mom, a business owner, and worked multiple streams of income, multiple jobs, always had something going on. And I was the person, like I said before, that got stuff done. So people would come to me. The school would come to me a lot. Nonprofits would come to me a lot and say, this is what we need. And it became super empowering when I was like looking at the big picture, and you take a moment and process and say, thank you for thinking of me. I really, really, it's an honor that you think of me to help in this situation. It really, really is. And I was always authentic because it truly was. They knew that I could help. That's an honor and a privilege. And so I would respond after taking a breath and really thinking about it. And this doesn't fit with what I've got going on, with the projects that I have right now, with the things that I have to do, with my travel plans, with my schedule, with what is going on with me right now, whatever the answer is for you. So fill in the blank there. But what I can do is this. What I can do is, I think you do this event regularly. I don't know whether it's quarterly, you'll do it again in 6 months, maybe you'll do it again next year. I have to decline right now, but why don't we talk about the next round? Because the timing really isn't right for me now. It's amazing what you can do when you say yes to what you say yes to in any given situation versus saying yes to what the other person is putting on your plate. Does that make sense? I mean, this is so good. And I know words matter. So saying this different ways so that you can understand and really truly understand. Your best friend is now getting married and they want you to take part in the wedding. Um, that you're financially strapped. You've got all this going on. It's stressing you out. Um, Having that conversation is thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to this. I love you, I adore you. Well, you've asked me for a reason and I'm truly truly honored. These are some of the things that I'm working on right now. Maybe it's money, maybe it's time. How can I say yes to this, honor you, and also honor my limitations? That's good, right? Isn't that good? um Paraphrasing it into your own words, of course, but using these kind of things as a template. It's not that you're no longer saying no. You're saying yes to what serves you in any given situation. Now, of course, at work, there are times, so my background's 25 years litigation. Okay, I dealt with attorneys who loved to procrastinate. And honestly, I gave. I was there no matter what. I worked till 10 o'clock at night, many, many, many times. And then I became a mom. And when I became a mom, um, I could get there early, but I had to leave. I had to leave to get my daughter. That was a boundary that I had to honor. I had another person waiting on me. And I remember my attorney would throw these things in at like 3 o'clock. And I'd say, great. Um, I'll work on this. I'll get as much as I can. I do leave at 4. I had to remind, I do leave at 4 so that I can get my child. And there was always this tug of war. And I remember the one time that I looked at him and I said, with all due respect, I don't have a wife at home. I am the wife. This is my responsibility. My responsibility is at work as well, but this is my responsibility. These are my boundaries. I have to do this. Can we work this out? And it was just that aha moment with him that he looked at me and he was like, I get it now. I mean, he has wife, he's got kids. He just never saw me, Kathy the paralegal versus Kathy the mom, right? It was a shift in his perspective that I had to bring to his attention. Now, mind you, he was at my baby shower, right? I was on maternity leave. It wasn't until I explained my boundary that we got on the same page that he was like, oh, I get it now. I get it now. And then it's funny, a few years later, I'm working with a young woman attorney, and she got really, really frustrated with me time and time again because, again, attorneys love my litigators, but there's something to be said. But getting me a task, you know, 5 minutes before it's due, and expecting me to stay late, and I'd be like, "Okay, well, we'll work on it tomorrow." And she's like, "I need it done now." And I said, "Well, I can't stay late." And it wasn't until years later she became a mom that we had a conversation and she's like, "I get it now. I didn't get it then." And understanding this shifting perspective with boundaries. But I held my own regardless of the cost. I mean, I did get a bad review from her, but that's okay. That is okay. Irritating other people with my boundaries, I was okay with that. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay that not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to be happy with any given situation. And just because you say no today on a given situation doesn't mean they're going to hate you for the rest of your life. Right. And that's not how we humans work. We'll be irritated and we get over it. but allowing ourselves to irritate people and be a thorn in their side for a hot minute. You got to own that space because the priority, the boundary, your priority is more important. You holding true to your boundary is more important to their rush, to whatever's going on with them. Because they can be flexible. And if they can't, they can figure it out. Everything is figure outable. But you have to hold true to who you are. All right. So I'm going to wrap it up. So I appreciate you listening to this. Hopefully you took away a nugget, right? Something that you can implement, something that you could maybe listen to this over and over again until you own that space, that your boundary is yours, it's your priority, and you need to be there. Truly, you are worthy of your boundaries because when you own that space, when you own your worth, you show up better for everyone in your world. And that's the version of you we want to see. That's the version of you we want to spend time with because you're worth it. So thank you for joining us here at Breaking Bad Communication. Again, my name is Kathy Riley. I am your host and communication expert. If there was something that you enjoyed here, please share it with your friend. Don't forget to subscribe. Looking forward to our next time where we will continue breaking bad habits around communication and owning our worth, speaking our truth, because you matter.